All right, so I'm here with Eula Gibbs, and Eula started with us in 2007. And for the first few years, she was a full-time counselor in Bel Air, literally seeing like 2,000 sessions a year. So that's like over 40 a week. And then at a certain point several years ago, Eula became our regional director for Cecil County, Maryland, and then also added Atlanta. And so right now, Eula sees about 25 clients a week in Bel Air, and then performs duties in those other two areas, sees some clients in Cecil County, and operates the Atlanta, Georgia operation. And so one thing that struck me in all that, if you do the math in that, Eula's done over 20,000 sessions of counseling with Safe Harbor, which is more than I've done, which is more than anybody ever with Safe Harbor's done. So Eula is really a face of Safe Harbor in terms of the client, seeing the clients and providing the services. But what's impressed me the most is her heart for people, in that God's given her a tremendous capacity to care for people. And so those aren't just numbers, but it really represents how big her heart for people is. And Eula, tell everybody the story of kind of as you were growing up and then in college, a young boy that you met, and just how your heart for people is something that God's put in you from a young age.
Yeah, what I was saying to Eric is that I was born in a small town in South Carolina to a single parent mom. And what I saw and what I grew up with was my mother was a nurse all her life. So I saw her put on a uniform every day and go out and serve people in the hospital. And when she wasn't doing that, she was serving people through the church and in the neighborhoods. I didn't know that I want to be an outreach person, but what I did know is that what I saw was natural in me. And it turned out that when I was in college, I was majoring in counseling, and a little boy used to come on campus and he would be begging for food around the dorm. I grabbed my roommate and I said, let's go find out who this boy is in the community and see if we can mentor him. And it turned out that he was in the probation system, and the juvenile probation officer told us that we couldn't work with him unless we had some type of organized program. He said, if you guys write a proposal, submit it to my agency, but it has to be signed off by a professor or the chairman of your department. So we did that, and that was my sophomore year that we started a mentoring program. And I just say that to say, I think that this has always been a design that God has put in all of us. When he forms us in our mother's womb, I think he also guides and directs the path that we live out in our life. And some of us live that path and some of us don't.
Yeah, we're created to show God's love and God's presence to other people.
Right.
For sure. And yeah, thanks for sharing that. That's really your heart's posture in serving all the clients that you do. The other thing I wanted to add was that when you and I discussed years ago, you becoming the regional director licensee for Cecil County. Correct. And what I said to you at that time was, I remember saying, Eular, are you sure you're not from here? You're from South Carolina and from DC. Like, do you know the history of Cecil County, that's been a hotbed for the Ku Klux Klan? And tell everybody your response and how you looked at that.
Well, first of all, it didn't bother me. I didn't know that. But one of the things that I know is that I never really map out where I'm going to serve. When I find that God has directed me to a place, I was familiar with the spirit of Cecil County because I was born in the South in the late 50s. And the town that I was in, I grew up in, it was segregated up until I was 10 years old. And so we were used to seeing Ku Klux Klansmen walk around or ride around on their horses and one of them was like the county commissioner.
Mm,
So it was a familiar thing to see to see that environment, but also knew that the majority of the people in the town or the hamlets or the cities, we try to rise above that and continue with progress. I felt nothing but welcome, a welcoming spirit from the churches where Safe Harbor is located. And Rising Sun, the church in Rising Sun, I was very surprised when they reached out and invited us there. And
yeah.
Eric, I haven't shared this with you, but Pastor Chuck, he's completed the renovations on the educational building. He put Safe Harbor right in the front
Mm,
and designed the
wow.
office and the waiting area to be conducive to clients coming in there. And he just finished that maybe like 2 weeks ago.
Mm,
And so that just let me know that when we do the right thing, God will prepare the
that's
way
right.
for the services to be met. And
That's
so
right.
we'll see if we can attract some more therapists up there.
Yeah. And what
Not a
really
lot of people want to go to Cecil County.
what really, well, they might after hearing this. What really struck me in your response was exactly what you're saying now, was your laser focus on God's call to that area. I remember you saying, well, Eric, I feel like God's really given me a heart for people in Cecil County and is leading me there.
Yeah.
And your focus was on that, and you're like, hey, whatever else is going on there, that's not my concern. My
Yeah.
concern is God's call on my direction in my life and serving God in that. And as that's played out over years, God has used you to really touch lives there, um, which has really been great to see. Tell us kind of your view on just how you view your role with clients and um, the life change that you see.
Um, I've always been process oriented rather than outcome oriented. So I always try to look at the big picture, the macro level, not the micro
Mm-hmm.
level of services. I believe that we are planters and waterers, and God is the God of harvest. So when clients come back and they have testimonies of how they have been blessed and changes in their lives, I always tell them that that is one layer that God has healed them, and they have a responsibility to keep growing, go
Mm-hmm.
deeper, deal with the other areas that you have not addressed, and also pass this on. If you're a parent, pass it on to your children. Now you can
Right.
be a better model for your child. Um, I try not to get caught up with being outcome focused, and I try to
Right.
train the counselors not to do that because we will get hung up when clients get stuck. We will get frustrated when they get stuck. But if you know that you're only there to plant a seed or to water seeds that has already been planted by people before you, then your work is done when the client is done.
Right. Yeah, you really view it that we're sowing a lot of things into
Yeah,
clients' lives that will continue to reap a harvest in their life and other people's lives long after they've been finished seeing you
exactly.
or the counselor.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, I think that's a really great approach to have. Um, Tell us lastly, what is just something interesting about you that people maybe wouldn't know?
That's a hard question because I tend to be private, and I'm private only because I'm not from this area.
Uh-huh.
And when I connect with people, I just try to connect with them in the moment. Things that they don't know about me is that I'm crazy, crazy sports person, and I love LeBron James. And I have gotten into my car from Maryland and drove all the way to one game in Miami
Oh
when
my
he was down
goodness.
there because it was a holiday. I think it was over the Christmas holiday about 4 years ago when he was down there. Everybody was celebrating with their families. I didn't go home that year, and I didn't have family up here, so I said, "Hey, I'll go and watch a game."
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I enjoyed myself.
How many
Got to
points
see.
did he score in that game?
Well, you know what? It was and that was before Golden State was Golden State.
Oh,
Yeah, that was
great.
back in probably 2010, 2011.
Okay.
And so I enjoyed the game. I got to see Julius Erving.
Oh, no
So
kidding.
yeah, it was just, I love the trip, and I
Right.
love just kind of doing something that was different out of the box. But I do things like that because I'm not here from here.
Well, that would be something out of the ordinary that people probably wouldn't have known about you.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
hopped in a car and drove to Miami to watch a game.
yeah,
That's pretty neat. And I bet also the part about growing up in a segregated town in South Carolina where Klansmen would be like in your neighborhood, basically,
right,
is another unique thing probably people may not have known. I know I didn't know that until you
yeah,
told me a couple of years ago.
right.
So, well, Eula, listen, thanks for what you do. Thank you for taking this time just to allow our team at the office to get to know who you are in more depth. So have
Okay,
a great day.
okay. Thank you, Eric.